Welcome to Halachot Niddah. This will be part 23A of the class. Today's topic, having relations during pregnancy within the first 3 months. In the previous class, in part 23, we started speaking about having relations during pregnancy after the 3 month period has passed, where we explained that once a woman has a chazaka, that she's misulak damim, the husband no longer needs to be concerned for the woman's onot, for the woman's cycle, like the ona benuni, the veset chodesh, or the veset haflaga. Even if this woman had a veset kavua, we explained that the husband no longer has to be concerned for those days, and he's allowed to have relations on those days themselves. However, today we're going to see in the Sefer Taharat Abayit by Rav David Yosef Shlita, that wouldn't be the case if we are dealing with a woman who is still within the first 3 months of her pregnancy. Aval, however, Kodem shemalula shelosha chadashim miyom shenit'abra. If we are dealing with a woman that from the time that she became pregnant, 3 months have not yet gone by, they're not fully complete, af al pi she'yudim bibirur, even though we know with certainty, through medical examination, that the woman is pregnant, is proper for one to be stringent, and to separate from her during the on a period where she's anticipating to get her blood. Now, before we move on to the next point, let's just try to understand what Rav David Yosef Shlita is telling us over here. Comes Rav David Yosef Shlita and he says like this: let's say a woman took a pregnancy test, or better yet, she went to the doctor, the OBGYN, and they did a checking on her and they said, Mazal tov, you are pregnant. Now, usually when a woman is pregnant, we shouldn't be concerned for her to see any more blood. Once a woman is pregnant, she's removed from seeing blood. Nevertheless, we are still not 100% certain that is the case, because as we'll see in the next case, it's still possible that a woman can see blood during pregnancy. So therefore comes Rav David Yosef and he says like this: look, since she's still within the first 3 months, even though you went ahead and you did a bidik, you did a medical examination to see if she's pregnant or not, nevertheless, Rav David Yosef Shlita says it is proper for the husband and the wife to be stringent and to stay away from each other during her onoot, during the periods where she's anticipating to receive the blood. You might say, Rabbi, but she's not going to get it. I understand. But we are not certain of that. Only after 3 complete months have passed from the time that she became pregnant, then we're going to be certain that she's misuleket damim. Until then, we can't use that rule. If I cannot use that rule, so then we're going to tell you that it's proper for him and her to be stringent and not have relations during the Ona period. Continues Rav David Yosef and he explains this following case regarding what happens now if a woman does see blood, but it's after 3 months of pregnancy. And even if we're speaking about a woman that from the time that she became pregnant, 3 complete months have passed, if she saw blood during the time of her pregnancy, here we go, Rabotai. You see, clearly a woman can still see blood. It's just during the first 3 months we're not certain. After 3 months we are certain, but still she can see. If the woman does see blood, let's say in the 4th month, the 7th month, the 8th month, does not matter. We're going to tell the woman that is a seeing, meaning you became impure and you need to separate from your husband. And vice versa, the husband has to separate from you. Just like a woman who does not have an established cycle. Now there is a very big difference between a woman who sees blood and she's not pregnant versus this woman where she's pregnant and she's seeing blood after the 3rd month of pregnancy. What is the difference? A woman who's not pregnant, let's say she's receiving the blood and it's not consistent, meaning it's not established. Let's say she's a woman that does not have an established cycle. So let's say she received it on the 1st of the month. What are the next steps that fall into place? Now the husband and the wife, they have to be concerned for Ona Benunit, for Vesed HaChodesh, for Vesed HaFlaga. Following month, they have to stay away from each other on the 30th day, on the date of the month, or on the interval time. They have to stay away from each other. And this is going to continue because she's not pregnant. That wouldn't be the case in our situation. Since a woman is pregnant and it's after 3 complete months, we're going to tell you she's misula kedamim. She's removed from seeing blood. Oh, but now she saw blood. No problem. Let the husband and the wife, let them separate from one another. Period. That's it. For that time, they're going to separate, as we're going to see. Rav David Yosef is going to speak about. She's going to count Niddah days. She's going to do a hefsek tahara. Then she's going to count 7 clean days. Then she's going to go to the mikvah. Then the husband is allowed to be with her because she's a full-fledged Niddah. Once we say that the husband is allowed to be with her, she no longer and he no longer, they don't have to be concerned for the next time around for what she saw previously. That they don't have to be afraid of. Continues Rav David and he says like this. Everything that we said up to now was speaking about staying away from your wife during the only period where she's anticipating to get her blood. For example, in part 23 of the class we spoke about after 3 months period, if the woman didn't see and she's not seeing, the husband does not need to separate from her. Within 3 months, we're going to say, even though we know she's not going to see, but we're not certain about it, we're going to tell him, you have to separate from her during the prescribed onot. However, Rabotai, after the 3 months have passed, and she did see, we're going to tell the husband that in regarding to Prisha, separate from her only for that time, meaning only for that seeing alone. But after she goes to the mikvah, you're allowed to be with her like normal, like nothing ever happened because she's misulek damim. Aval, however, le'inyan tumat niddah, however, in regards to the woman being a niddah, pashut, he says it's simple, she'isha me'uberet shera'at adam, that a woman who's pregnant and she saw blood, or afilu ketem tame, or even if she saw a impure stain. What does that mean, an impure stain? She saw a stain on a white garment, the size of a nickel, which impurifies her. She temeh nida, which she becomes impure. She's a nida. Vidina kedin sha'ar anashim. But if we were going to tell her she has the law like the law of other women, v'chayevet livsok bit tohora, and now she has to go there and she has to do the hefsek tahara, right? On the day that she stops seeing blood before sunset, she has to take the cloth, right? We spoke about the bidika cloth that she has to take. She puts it on her longest finger, which is the middle finger, and she does an internal checking. That's the hefsek tahara. Once that comes out clean, now she has to go there and she has to count. V'lispor shiv'a nikim. She has to go there and she has to count 7 clean days. Ima bidikot kedat, with the checkings like the halacha requires. Now, we're going to see this Be'ezrat Hashem. I just want to give you a small summary of how important this halacha is. A lot of women, they don't check themselves all 7 complete days. The halacha says that a woman needs to check herself when we're dealing with the 7 clean days, once in the morning, once before sunset. She has to do this every single day from the 7 clean days. Now that is one opinion in the Shulchan Aruch. The next opinion in the Shulchan Aruch says at least I get the first day, meaning she does the checking in the first day, but in the morning, and also in the first day before sunset, or in this and in the seventh day in the morning and the seventh day before sunset. That is the next opinion. But there's also another opinion that learns that as long as you get one good bidika, as long as they get one good bidika in the 7 clean days that she's clean, we're also going to allow her to go to the mikveh. Now, Rabotai, these are 3 opinions in the Shulchan Aruch. Let's just go over them one more time. The first rabbi requires you to go ahead and do bidika every single day for 7 days of the clean days, every single day, morning and before sunset. The second opinion is going to say no. You have to do it the first day and the 7th day, morning and before sunset. The third opinion says no, as long as they get one clean bidika in the 7 days, that's also good enough. Again, Rabotai, we want you lechatchila to go ahead and check yourself 7 days, morning and before sunset, every single day. Now to get to go ahead and to use the leniency of the second opinion or even the third opinion, you need to speak to your local rabbi. So that's what Rav David Yosef Shuta tells us over here. After she did the Hefsek Tahar, she has to count 7 clean days. With the checkings morning and before sunset during the 7 clean days, like the halacha requires her to do so. And afterwards, and afterwards she's going to go to the mikvah and she's going to say the blessing with all the details of the laws of dipping into the mikvah. And only afterwards is she's going to become pure to her husband. So we do see from Rav David Yosef Shlita that even if a woman who's pregnant and she did see blood and she did see even a stain on a white garment the size of a nickel, which impurifies her, and we're speaking about that she's after the 3-month period up until the 9th month, we're going to tell the husband and the wife that she is a niddah. You need to separate from her and she has to follow the procedure of the niddah days, the hefsek tahara, the 7 clean days, go to the mikvah, and only then is she going to become allowed to her husband. However, Rabotai, following the following month, she does not need to be concerned for the last time that she saw. Okay, now we're going to do a summary from part 23 and also part 23a, what we did today. Pregnant woman after 3 full months have passed. We said, once a woman's pregnancy is clearly established, meaning 3 full months, 90 days have passed since conception, she is presumed to stop menstruating, which is misuleket damim. Therefore, her husband does not need to separate from her during the time when her period would normally be expected, even if she previously had a fixed menstrual cycle. That was part 23 of the class. Today's class, part 23a. What about before the 3 months were completed? If less than 3 months have passed since conception, even if a medical test confirms the pregnancy, it is proper to be stringent and the husband should separate from her during her expected period time. The next case, if she sees blood during pregnancy, even after 3 months, if she sees blood during the pregnancy, she must treat herself as a woman without a fixed cycle. She must separate from her husband for that time and follow all regular laws of Niddah. Her impurity status. Regarding actual ritual impurity, if a pregnant woman sees blood or even a blood stain, she becomes impure like any other woman. So therefore, what must she do? She must perform a hefsek tahara, count 7 clean days, immerse properly with all halachic details and recite the blessing. Only after immersion does she become permitted to her husband. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai La'olam. Amen ve'amen.